Shabbat Shalom. In Parashah Mishpatim, we learn so many different civil laws, but I want to just focus on one of them for this week. The one that tells us that we should take an enemy's ox or donkey back to them if we find their ox or donkey wandering. And if we find that same ox or donkey under its burden, to not leave it there in the middle of the street, but to take it and raise it and to help it. Now this seems odd. Why should we help our enemy? Some of us might feel like they deserved it. But our rabbis tell us that when we notice an animal in need, especially that of our enemies, it takes us out of our narrow perspective in that moment, and we come together for something positive rather than dwell on that which divides us. In the Aramaic translation, Onkelos tells us that we shall surely let go of any hate that we have in our heart towards our enemy in that moment. Helping them is more important than hating them. And in Avot de Rabbi Natan, he asks the question, who is a hero? One who turns an enemy into a friend. It sounds nearly impossible. Someone we can't stand becoming a friend. So how is this law applicable today? Well, many of us might not have oxen and donkeys wandering in the streets. Today, we tend to find our enemies online. Over the past many years on social media, we see memes from all sides of the political spectrum, blaming each other, hating each other. And then if you open the comments, it's nothing but strangers and sometimes friends yelling at each other, calling each other's names, turning people into enemies. So what can we do in this moment? When we feel so divided, when we feel that we have to share something that is filled with such hatred online because perhaps we agree with it or we find it funny or amusing. We should think before we post, before we comment, and imagine the person on the other side of that screen, wherever they are in the world, seeing that post or that comment, that hatred that is in your heart. This Shabbat, I want to invite all of us who use social media on a daily basis to do our very best to not post comments or memes that can be considered words of hatred, but to only engage in words of discourse if necessary, but to walk out of that conversation with a friend rather than an enemy. Shabbat Shalom.